You are now tuned into the DFPN, the Dat Feelin Podcast Network. The following introduction has been paid for by the Dat Feelin Podcast Network. This is the No Gimmicks Podcast. This is the No Gimmicks Podcast. Hosted by Frank Lee and Black Mess. This is the No Gimmicks Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the No Gimmicks Podcast right here on the DFPN. Make sure you like, share, and follow to be notified of the live sessions that we have, as well as follow us on IG at No Gimmicks DFPN, and subscribe to the Dat Feelin and the Gerrick Report YouTube channels to stay current on everything that we have going. We got a good show for y'all tonight, and some very interesting shit popped off with this dark side of the ring, and we gonna talk about that. We got some other news to go over, including Halloween Kills being on Peacock and what that means for all of you horror movie fans. So before we get into that, let's shout out our sponsors. Shout out to the Plugs Earbuds. Shout out to Audio Swim. And shout out to Premier Element UAE. Thank you for sponsoring. Go to the Dat Feelin Bandcamp at datfeelin.bandcamp.com. If you do go there, I just released 2 new tracks. One called Strange Land. The other one is called Only You, featuring my good friend E. Smitty. Very proud of both of those records, so go check them out. And then this show, as well as many others, will be on our Patreon. So go to the Patreon at patreon.com/Dat Feelin Podcast, where we will also be having a game night, another game night. And that winner of that game night will be getting either a PS Network subscription or a Xbox Ultimate subscription. And finally, we have the merch available at the Teespring. So go to teespring.com and search for Dat Feelin Podcast. Now, fabulous Frankie D. You got to bear with me tonight, man. We had a football game today, and my voice is fucked right now. So I'm a soldier through. But very interesting shit happened, bro.
well, before we get into talking about, the very interesting shit that happened, want to go ahead and thank all the people that checked us out last week. We did incredible numbers over on Spotify. That was some cool shit to see. That the No Gimmicks podcast, after we branded from Wrestling with Our Thoughts, is really starting to get some steam to it now. And we keep it 100 all the time, and that's just the way we do things, and people are finally, taking note of that. So that's pretty good. So I want to thank everybody out there that continues to listen to our show here. Find us everywhere you find a podcast. That's where we are. Yep.
Very much appreciative of that shit, man. So we did really well on the last episode. So yeah, thank you. But let's get into this interesting shit that happened. Right. So for the casual wrestling fan, you may not know of the Dark Side of the Ring series. I highly recommend you check it out. They drop episodes on YouTube. They're also on Vice TV, and they cover a lot of the infamous episodes of the wrestling world that happened. One of the more popular ones was the Owen Hart episode. I do think the Brian Pillman episode was very well done. And this one, they went over the plane ride from hell. So To the hardcore wrestling fan, it is a very well known story that has been pumped out throughout the years. Happened on a plane ride from London to Connecticut. What year was this? Like 2002?
This would have been about 2002. It was right around the time where the WWF at the time, World Wrestling Federation, changed its name to World Wrestling Entertainment. So it's right. It was actually when they came back for that Monday show. It was like right there they changed the name.
They changed the name. Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna recap the Dark Side of the Ring, that episode. So the plane ride from hell, there had been many stories about what actually happened, which this episode shed light on the entire event, right? So the first thing that really struck me was, one thing I didn't know was that they chartered that plane from Connecticut to Europe, right? So they stopped in Germany, went over to Scotland, ended up in London, did the Insurrection pay-per-view, and the crew was with them pretty much the entire time. Right. So one thing that I didn't know about this is that particular part. I thought they got that jet chartered from Europe to Connecticut. I didn't know that they were there with them that whole time.
Well,
so
that's what Jim Ross said, that WWE got rented this huge jumbo jet,
right,
to take him over there. And I mean, they were like first class accommodations and an open bar. They were trying to be nice to the talent. They're trying to, hey, you got your boys going to be doing a big tour. We want you to be as comfortable as possible. And yeah.
Yeah, that didn't go so well. The second part of this, like when they start getting into like before the shit actually happened, right? So they got stuck in London for 7 hours. And in that 7 hours, they were being catered to. So they had pretty much everything at their expense, right? So they had, first of all, they ran through 3 carts of liquor. and I was like, bro, that is a recipe for disaster. 3 carts, bro.
Bro, if they had never had the liquor, I highly doubt we would even be having this
any of this
right now.
Yeah, none of this would have ever happened.
Yeah.
But the fact that, so she was like, they went through the first cart, and I'm like, holy shit, they were lit. And then she was like, they ordered another one. I was like, oh, that's bad. And she was like, they finished that one.
They ordered another one, but here's the deal though. Not only were they going through cart after cart after cart of fucking alcohol, they also had
prescription
drugs on them. They mentioned during the show that they found syringes and shit after they got off the plane. It just kind of shows you where the business was then and where it's at now, where people go in the locker room, they're like, well, these guys are in there playing video games, or they're on their cell phones or whatever. How come they're not in here, doing any of these extracurricular activities, as I like to call them? It's different things now. They kind of learned that ain't the way to do things.
Right. But yeah, they were extra lit. So that was a recipe for disaster. One major thing to me that stood out was the whole Ric Flair shit, right?
Before we get to Ric Flair,
not the Ric Flair shit. Yeah, let's back up. The Brock Lesnar, Kurt Hennig situation.
Well, before that, let's go before that one. It was the situation where Michael Hayes is fucked up. Lit, all right? And he goes over to Bradshaw. I guess Bradshaw had, got busted open at the pay-per-view in his match against X-Pac. And he's, Bradshaw, I guess, is sleeping. And Hayes is just he's so lit he just comes up and just knocks the shit out of Bradshaw. And I guess, reopens that wound. And Bradshaw took him
Bradshaw got
down.
up.
Yeah, took him down. And then later on, you got, Sean Waltman up there, I guess he, like as Jim Ross said, wanted to be accepted, wanted to be, these guys to like him. It's kind of like peer pressure or something like that. Like, let's see what this idiot is going to do or some shit like that. So he cuts off Hayes' ponytail, and you go from that point to what you were talking about, the Brock Lesnar situation. They say Kurt Hennig was a huge ribber, and he came back. When he came back to the Federation, he was ribbing everybody. Brock Lesnar's from Minnesota, Kurt's from Minnesota. So it was automatic rivalry there,
Yep.
So they did their thing, and the story goes Kurt Hennig took some shaving cream or something, and he put it all over his head, and then splat. Brock woke up or whatever and went after Hennig, and they was wrestling around and on this plane,
It wasn't the fact that he was doing it.
Yeah.
Or they were fighting, because I'm pretty sure they probably would have let that shit go, but they were in the exit row. and they were like, Jim Ross said, he was like, I don't know if that door would have opened, but that ain't the place I want to find out if they keep pushing on it, if it would open.
Well, the flight attendant stated that there was no way they could open that door, but
right. But she was saying something else could have broke and the whole shit
the fuselage
pressurized. Yeah, the fuselage.
Mm-hmm.
It would have broke and they would have had to make an emergency landing, and they were over the Atlantic. So it's like, damn, they was wilding, bro. They was wilding the fuck out.
That's what it does, man. Alcohol. And when you bring up Brock Lesnar, we're going to talk about Flair on this one, but you bring up Brock Lesnar, Terry Runnels told a very interesting story about an encounter she had with a young Brock Lesnar who was just fresh to the company getting that big push. Apparently something happened at an arena, and Brock called Terry Runnels into the locker room or something like that, and he showed her the whole beast.
Shebang.
Yeah, the whole beast.
The beast incarnate.
Yeah. Showed her the whole Suplex City. And so Dustin Rhodes was in the locker room, and he told her, don't sell it. I'm assuming that means don't report it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So one thing between them that happened on that ride, like I knew this story, like he was on the PA just fucked up singing.
Yeah. And Jim Ross said, it would have been a different story if he was a good singer. He was a terrible singer.
Yeah.
And it just Ross went up to Dustin and said, sit your ass down.
Sit your ass down.
So hey, it is what it is, man. The guy was the fight attendant was like, he was obviously going through something. He was hurt. Hey, it is what it is. Then on top of that, you go from her dealing with that, to Dustin, and then you hear stories, from the late New Jack about, Terry liked to, eat ass.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yep.
I blame it all on the plane ride from hell.
Pretty much.
That's why she turned to eating ass. I blame it on the plane ride from hell.
Nah, I think that started well before then. That started well before then. But yeah, even that, and then the Ric Flair shit,
right?
And so I heard that I've heard about that story too. The one thing I didn't know was about the flight attendant and her story. So her story, and then Rob Van Dam kind of corroborating it. He didn't really go into detail on what actually happened with her and Flair, but he said Flair was back there, which kind of backs it up. Did he or did he not do this shit?
Look, bro. Listen. We've all heard stories of Flair getting naked in being a nature boy and sound profiling, and that's probably normal to any wrestler around that era. That's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take it to people like myself or whatever, well, the first thing that we do when we see something like that is, okay, this is obvious indecent exposure. So,
Yeah.
do you want to call law enforcement to have them come deal with this? Because that's what normally would happen in that type of situation. So my only
Right.
thing with this is that she told her story. She said that Flair was back there trolling around and telling put her hand on his crotch and made her touch it against her will and all this other shit. She never said she said on the show he never he didn't try to rape me or anything, and she just felt real uncomfortable. So
Right.
I don't believe for a second that she touched it. I just think Flair was back there doing what Flair was doing in front of all the other wrestlers. Is what I think what was going
Right.
on. And she
Right.
didn't like she didn't like it. The other girl, whoever was there, didn't like it either. They were. That's just pretty much what it is. It was unprofessional. So
Very.
I don't think. But other than that, I don't think it went farther than that. I mean, Flair was probably drunk and whatever, and that's just what Ric Flair does is what they
Right.
say. I don't know Ric Flair. I just have heard the stories about Flair, and I'm not excusing his behavior one bit. My thing would be if this person did all this stuff, I wouldn't be trying to take a cash settlement from the WWE. I would be trying to pursue charges against Ric Flair for what he did. Okay, or for Scott Hall for what he did, because Scott Hall, tried to lick her face or whatever, and had her, basically had her where she couldn't go anywhere. So
Right.
that's
Right.
holding somebody against their will, technically. So how come no charges were pressed? And my thing is, from looking at it from a perspective of, from a law perspective, how come no charges were ever pressed about this situation? And this is public record. This is things that people have known for
Mm-hmm.
years. Okay, this is nothing
Right.
new. This just got everybody's going ballistic now about this, but this is something we knew years ago. There's been plenty of stories told about the plane ride from hell. Um, Plenty of podcasts have covered it. Plenty of YouTube channels have covered this particular story. So everybody's getting up in arms about it now because we're in 2021 and we have the cancel culture and all that going on. I am 100% not excusing. I think it's fucking stupid to even do that.
That
First of
whole
all,
ride was
why
stupid.
why would you I'm sorry, but I don't think it's real entertaining to see a man butt naked in a robe trolling around his dick and all this. I just don't find it entertaining. It's not for me. So
Right.
it's just I can't get with it. You feel me? But if that equated to some type of a sexual assault or something, law enforcement should have been involved, and that's just my opinion of it.
Wholeheartedly agree.
I mean,
Wholeheartedly agree. But yeah, so all in all, I mean, really, really, not a lot about this story I didn't know about. But what struck me is that, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I never knew that shit. That and the real reason, because my whole thing with Brock and Henning, I was like, I thought this was some wrestling shit. Like they were challenging each other, like, you can't out wrestle me, and it just went down like that, which made sense to me because everybody was fucked up on the plane. But the Flair shit, I didn't know. I didn't know the whole story behind it based off what they said on the show.
yeah, and then the consequences of the situation now is that Flair, his car shields commercials have been paused for the moment. Whatever plans that they were going to do, I believe they were setting up for him to come in to manage Andrade. They're probably going to have to put that on hold right now. It's not a good time to bring Flair in while this controversy is going on.
Yep.
Tommy Dreamer, most likely probably lost his job with Impact Wrestling because of the comments that he made, and looking back at Tommy Dreamer's comments on the show, I thought a lot of the stuff that he said was stupid. He was essentially going above and beyond
To defend them.
to defend Flair, and this is like this is normal behavior and yada yada yada. Well, bro, it ain't normal behavior. Okay,
No.
normally when you've seen people do things like this, they're usually high on fucking meth or PCP or something and wanting to take their clothes off. So it's not normal behavior to you. It's not normal behavior to me. It's probably normal behavior to the wrestlers in that era, but it's not normal behavior to us in the least bit. But Tommy
Right.
Dreamer got indefinitely suspended by Impact Wrestling. I personally don't think that was the right move. I think the guy had, it's a freedom of speech kind of thing. You don't have to agree with what he says, but that's his opinion. You feel me? So
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
I just don't think they handled it right. I think that they're gonna let the situation die down, and they're gonna go back to business.
Pretty much. It's pretty much gonna be like that.
Yeah.
Hell, Hogan came back. If Hogan come back, anybody can come back.
Yeah,
Well, let me not say that. Let me not say that.
well Hogan, but here's the thing: we haven't gotten any stories of Hogan on a plane, twirling around his thermos. You know what I'm saying? So we haven't gotten that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You know what? Dreamer was going wild, bro. Dreamer was like, he's well endowed. He was
Yeah,
swinging his
and I'm
well
like,
endowed.
bruh,
Man,
but my
bro,
whole
get
thing
the
is
fuck
this.
out of here.
My whole thing is this, though. Dreamers. If Flair had went up, let's say the situation like this, and Dreamer was on the plane and his wife was on the plane. Beulah from ECW, that's his wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If Flair had done that to his wife, would you just say that? Would you say the same shit that Flair is just being
No.
Flair and Rick is well endowed and he's throwing it for you, Beulah, and you can touch it and all this other bullshit. Hell no,
He's
you
doing the
wouldn't be saying that
helicopter
shit.
with it.
No, you would have turned into the innovator of violence on Flair. Is what would have
Yeah.
happened. So come on
Yeah.
now, you know
Yeah. Dreamer went above and beyond to be like, he ain't doing that
he
shit.
did, but to fire the guy over it and definitely suspend him over it, I don't think that's the right move, man. I don't think it's the right move at all, and hopefully they come to some kind of understanding as soon as this thing blows over.
Yeah, I agree. So moving on,
Right.
is AEW catching the rhythm? So I watched Dynamite. Dynamite was really good this past Wednesday, by the way.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
It was really good. They set up Rampage really well on Dynamite and managed to tell really good stories on Dynamite. Same thing with Rampage. They kept that continuation from Dynamite into Rampage and then set up shit. Are they catching a rhythm story wise? Because this was the knock on AEW. The storytelling needed to get better. Are they getting better with their storytelling?
I think they are. I think that they've been telling a good story ever since All Out. So I think as they've got a new, they got all this momentum right now. It's a new direction. The rating kind of went down a little bit. They're still over 1 million, but it kind of went down because the curiosity kind of wore off a little bit, as expected. I think the rating will probably jump back up this week when they're coming live from New York in the Arthur Ashe Stadium. It's going to be the biggest crowd.
Slam.
Yeah, the
Grand Slam is stacked.
Yeah, both shows, Rampage and Dynamite. Both shows are going to be 2 hours this week. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what they happen. I will say this real quick. Have you saw the rebranding of NXT? Did you happen to check that out?
No.
Okay. I happened to. I saw it. I was like, let me see what this shit is, right? So I turned it on, and they got I don't know the exact lyrics, but something about down south hustlers trying to get rid of all your haters and your busters, or some shit like that. It's the intro for the song or the intro for the show. So they turn it on. I have to say the NXT, the Capital Wrestling Arena looks a lot better than it did. They got the lights all over the place. They got more people in the stands. It looks really good. It looked really well on TV. I only saw one match because I couldn't watch the rest of the show. I just couldn't get into it. I saw one match, and that was with Braun Breaker or Rex Steiner versus LA Knight. LA Knight, which is former Eli Drake. Yeah, it's a damn good match. That Braun Breaker, they got rid of that name and just let him be Rex Steiner. That's going to be a superstar right there. He's good already. He really impressed me. And then after that, I turned the shit off. That was
so. Question. So is NXT? I looked at their rating. The rating jumped.
The rating jumped because it was curiosity,
right,
to see what they were going to do. But
okay,
I mean, they ended the show with a wedding.
Is it worthy? Oh, so no, it's not.
No, they ended the show with a wedding, and I'm like, I saw this later on. I'm like, I'm glad I turned it off. You know, but when he's wrestling, Rex Steiner's wrestling, yeah, I'll check it out.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
But I'm like, but the whole thing is like, I don't know what they're going for. It's like they're trying to attract the kind of hip hop audience, and I don't get it, man.
You know what the fuck they're trying to do. You know what they're trying to do.
What are they trying to do?
Counter AEW.
It's gonna take more than some, trying to get rid of your haters and your busters. It's gonna take more than that.
That's what they're trying to do, man. They trying to counter AEW.
Hey, you good luck. You can't counter shit. Look, I think people would have thought that when it was going on, when the Wednesday war was going on, quote unquote, that Dynamite would have folded and then went to another day. To run from W. But that's not what happened. NXT ran.
No.
And that's never happened before. It's kind of like back in the day when Thunder was on the same day as SmackDown, and Thunder retreated to Wednesdays. But they were on Thursday. They were there before. So I don't know, man. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that in for NXT. It is what it is. But yeah, the AEW is selling good stories. They got Ruby Soho and Britt Baker. That's a good story going on there. They obviously have history. They know each other from the Indies, so I can't wait to see that match. Powerhouse Hobbs is getting a shot of a lifetime right now with CM Punk, and I hope they don't blow it. They need a strong black guy in the company, and Powerhouse Hobbs can be that guy. You know what I mean? If they don't mess up, Ricky Starks is another one that can come up. And
you know what? I think Ricky Starks can be a main eventer.
Oh yeah, he can. Yeah, definitely. And another one that can be a main eventer too, if pushed correctly, is Wardlow. So
yeah.
Wardlow has it.
You know what? I've been waiting for them to find a right way to get him away from MJF, and I just don't see.
They've already started it though.
Did they?
Eventually, yeah. In the last 2 weeks with the Brian Pillman Jr. stuff, which I'm like, dude, did you see the promo that MJF cut on Pillman Senior? It was like, this is dirty, bro. Like, he looked up to heaven and started talking to him. He says, "Oh, what the hell am I doing?" He looked down at the ring and started talking.
Hey, Pillman.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. Even Punk was like, whoa.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, that's like, it's so different when Randy Orton did that to Eddie Guerrero, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think they're telling the story right now, and we'll see where it goes. Pillman, if it was me booking this shit, this is all going to lead to Pillman Jr. snapping, okay, and kind of becoming that loose cannon character. But he was starting to do it in MLW,
right?
When he was with when he was with the Hart Foundation in MLW, and they beat the shit out of Kevin Sullivan because he was walking around with the cane on and everything. And see, this whole Varsity Blinds thing they got going on with the rip off Welcome to the Jungle music and all that shit, it ain't working for me. Pillman Jr. needs to be a psychotic, like his daddy, like the loose cannon character, and just go full ham. That's what needs to happen, and I can't wait for them to finally pull the trigger on that.
You think they're going to pull the trigger on that?
I think so. If they don't, they're fucking stupid. They got to pull the trigger on this. You got Pillman Jr., who, if you go look at the MLW tapes of when he was there.
I know he can pull it off.
He can pull off a loose cannon character. I think this is where it's all leading to. Yeah, definitely. And I'd like to, honestly, who I would like to see manage Pillman Jr. Because Pillman Jr. is not really good at promos yet. He can be, but he's
Right.
not good at promos yet. You know who would be a good manager for him?
Who?
Jake the Snake Roberts. You take him. You take Pillman. You see Jake Roberts is back there, and Jake is seeing what's going on with Pillman, and it kind of it's kind of like with Jake. You go back to what happened with the Warrior. Come here, let me teach you about the dark side. You know what I mean? So Pillman goes with Jake to go see about the dark side, and Griff Garrison doesn't, and Julia Hart are like, what are you doing, man? You know. You can't go with him. You know, that's you. And Pillman Jr. says, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And then he says this, trust me.
Okay.
Well, that's what I would do. That's what I would do.
I can get with that.
That's what I would do. You do a bunch of vignettes. You got Jake Roberts on the show. You got Jake Roberts on the contract. You take Jake Roberts, you move away from Lance Archer. You bring him in.
That's already happening with Minoru there.
Yeah, but put him away from, because Archer doesn't need Roberts. But you take Jake right there and you use him to bring out the dark side of Brian Pillman Jr. Have him as his manager, be his mouthpiece. You got something there.
What I think they're doing now, well, maybe they are already setting this up. Because you remember that the interview that he had with JR? Yeah. His dad was prevalent in that interview, and you've seen that bring out a different type of emotion in him.
Yeah, you know what I mean, here's the problem with that, though. The problem is that why would you play that interview after Pillman has already come in and made the save? You should have played that interview before MJF came out, so MJF could respond to the interview. You don't play the interview after.
Bro, that would have been. Oh no, MJF would have crucified that. They know that.
No, but that's what MJF has to have something to play off of. And that's what I mean. You have to play off the promo that he just saw. Oh, we just saw this promo from Brian. Oh, here comes the MJF. You know he's not talking about that promo with JR.
Okay. I think he would have crucified it. But
doesn't matter. But then that's when you see the beatdown happen. You see him get in the ring, and he's in there with the steel chair.
Okay.
He's swinging the steel chair at Wardlow. But then the camera pans up, and who do you see watching from a distance? Oh, watching from afar, Jake the Snake Roberts. What's Jake Roberts doing out here? Why is he here? Why is he? Who's he looking at? Then on Rampage, you continued up. Hey, Jake, I saw you on the show. You know what was going on here? I want to talk to Brian Pillman Jr., but I want to talk to him alone. That's where he started. He says, "I want to see you. I want to teach you the dark side. I want to teach you about revelations and Lucifer and all that." That's where you go with that.
You ain't no fucking booker. I like it though.
I could be. So hey, AEW.
I like it. I'll fucks with it. With it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, moving on. Big E.
Oh, whoa. Hold on. Go back to AEW.
Wait. All right.
Forgot.
What you got?
Adam Cole versus Frankie Kazarian. Damn good matchup that opened up Dynamite this week.
You know what? I thought that was a perfect way to open it. Because the crowd was already hot from CM Punk coming out.
Yep.
And then Adam Cole comes out to his music and the crowd is into it. And the match was good.
Bro, honestly speaking, how much longer do you think Adam Cole is going to be a heel and be associated with the Elite? You got to watch. People have got to watch being the Elite to see where these storylines go, because
exactly
they were just talking. Kenny was just talking, and the Young Bucks were just talking about Cole and everything that happened, and bringing up Hangman Page, because Hangman Page was real cool with him.
Yeah,
all of his different stuff. Who's to say that Hangman Page won't come back and be aligned with Jake or somebody like that? There's a lot of possibilities.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking one of two things are going to happen. with Adam Hangman Page.
Yeah.
I'm thinking either A, he's going to come back as the leader of the Dark Order, or B, he may align himself with somebody else.
So you're thinking a heel turn?
Yeah, I'm thinking a heel turn.
Okay. Well, what about somebody else that's on the sideline right now? People say, even his woman saying that he's being misused, and we haven't really touched on this. The Machine, Brian Cage.
I would agree with that. I
would think that Brian Cage, with just his look alone, would be way up the card as far as this guy should be a world heavyweight champion contender. He should be in those matches, and I believe you got AEW. They kind of need a Batista. They kind of need a Brock Lesnar. They need somebody like that. And they got it with Brian Cage. Why you haven't pulled the trigger on it? I don't know.
What they happen with him and Powerhouse Hobbs?
Absolutely. But being as though, Brian Cage was on Lucha Underground and he was in Impact Wrestling, I would think that it would go to him first. I mean, Powerhouse Hobbs. I'm a fan of Powerhouse Hobbs, but I think Powerhouse Hobbs still has a little way to go, a little bit more seasoning. They got him in there with CM Punk, and we'll see what he can do. But it's going to take some time. But I think Brian Cage is ready. And why he's sitting on the sidelines right now, I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me.
They got him doing more of the dark elevation shit.
Well, he don't need to be on the dark elevation shit. Dark elevation is, and they don't want to admit it, but it's the truth. Dark elevation is where you send your talent that need more work. So you put them on dark.
Yeah.
That's where they go. Brian Cage doesn't need work. He just needs to have a proper storyline and a proper introduction to get him over. And even if you can't get him over as a babyface, you make him a heel.
Yeah.
That's where
I think he works better as a heel.
Yeah, but they tried to push him as a face. I was there at Fighter Fest 1 and saw the match he had with Ricky Starks, and the fans were with Starks the entire time.
The entire time. Starks is just a star, man.
Right.
He's a star.
Right. So we'll see what happens with that. But then also, you got to look at the main event situation right now. It's, Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. Not going to be for the world title yet. It's just a matter of respect and who's better, who's really the best. So they got that going on. I just, I wish Kenny would just be a more serious heel. I
think we're getting that. I think we're going to get that.
Yeah.
And I think Danielson is going to bring that out of him.
Yeah, because he needs to be, something here.
Right.
That's just my whole thing. I mean, and what's your opinion while we were talking about Omega? What is your opinion of Don Callis as his manager? And
they need to get Don the fuck out of there, bro. And that's just that. Respectfully, they need to get Don away from him. I mean, yeah, in the beginning as a mouthpiece, he worked, but now you have the elite at a level where you don't need Don Callis. You don't. If you have a mouthpiece, you have him with Adam Cole.
But Adam Cole doesn't need a mouthpiece.
No, that's what I'm saying Adam Cole can be the mouthpiece.
Yeah, but you can't have Adam Cole be the mouthpiece of the elite when eventually they're gonna kick Adam Cole out the group.
Yeah, this is true.
And feud him, feud is more money in Adam Cole versus Kenny Omega than them being a team.
Yeah, this is true. Which leads me to a theory.
Okay.
I think we're going to see Kevin Steen in AEW.
Oh, I think it is. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. And we'll see. We don't have much longer to wait.
No, we don't.
So we'll see. And then Tony Khan put out something, a message saying that he's got a few more tricks up his sleeve. So we shall see what those tricks are. Could it be a monster among men coming in? Could it be
he's going to Impact.
Could it be a certain fiend? I don't know.
I hope so.
Yeah, but but going off of AEW, we were talking about Big E and the fact that this past Monday night on Raw, Big E won the WWE Championship from Bobby Lashley. I thought
Yep.
Bobby Lashley has been an incredible WWE champion, running through everybody, probably getting the biggest push of his career in the whip.
I think Lashley has been the most dominant WWE champion that there has been in a long time.
Exactly. So
And
I'll put you on the spot real quick because we were kind of talking about this. So when you take the belts in the respective, you have the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship. Which one means the most?
the WWE championship, obviously,
Right.
it means the most.
Because some people think it's a Universal.
No,
It's not.
it holds a lot of weight because Roman's holding it. It means something because Roman is holding it. If anybody else in that company was holding the Universal Championship besides Roman, that belt wouldn't mean as much. But since Roman is holding it, it means a lot.
Well, we're going to have coming up, and then we'll get back to Big E, but I want to get this out the way real quick. So we're going to have coming up in Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's going to be for the championship. I'm not sure. But we have Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns.
Yes. And I'm pretty much gonna hang my hat on Brock's gonna win that match. And then I'm gonna hang my hat on Roman's gonna go to Raw.
No, I guess I won't be seeing Roman anymore. I can't do it, bro.
Raw is terrible.
I can't watch it.
But they need the ratings. So if it's me, knowing that Raw needs the help, knowing that Brock Lesnar is on SmackDown, I'm dropping that championship because Roman has held it for a while, right? He's held it for a while. He's done well. You have a guy that can continue that trend in Brock Lesnar. You drop the belt to Brock. Raw desperately needs the help. You send Roman to Raw. And that may help the ratings.
Okay, you send Roman to Raw. You have Brock Lesnar as a Universal Champion. Brock Lesnar remains on SmackDown. Brock Lesnar is nowhere to be seen because he's not going to be there every week. Roman's going to be there. In my opinion, you do not take that belt off of Roman Reigns until at least WrestleMania.
I would agree with that. But realistically speaking, it makes more sense if Brock can be there and he can bring in those ratings. Whenever they advertise them, you know the ratings are going to be there. SmackDown is still a good show without Brock Lesnar there.
Oh, right? Okay. So what do you think they're going to do as far as the draft goes? Do we see people? Because you mentioned Roman Reigns going over to Raw. So who's going to come from Raw to SmackDown? You got to do something.
Lashley.
I think Lashley goes to SmackDown. Oh, I didn't think about that. That's actually pretty interesting. But who's to say that Roman necessarily wants to leave SmackDown and go to Raw? I mean, Roman is kind of the man. He's kind of the man. He's that SmackDown is kind of his playground. Him and the Usos, they got a good thing going over there. So at the end of the day, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Because Raw needs fixing.
But he needs new contenders. But that's true. But here's the thing, though. We've already seen Roman on Raw. And didn't do anything. So that's where the draft is kind of stupid to me because all you're doing is you're mixing around the characters here,
right?
But if it's still the same stagnant storytelling and stagnant creative, it don't matter who's on the show.
It won't matter. No, it won't matter.
But you can take Brock.
If you give Roman that creative freedom that he has on SmackDown and bring him to Raw, Raw's a lot better. And then in the draft, you send Roman to Raw, you send the Usos to Raw. The bloodline is still intact.
Okay, but then you take, let's just say Saudi Arabia, you have Brock Lesnar. Let's say he loses that match, and Roman Reigns retains the Universal Championship. you take Roman and the Usos, you send them to Raw, automatically you guys send Big E to SmackDown because Big E's a WWE champion. They need a world champion.
Right. Well, here's what you
But
can
Big
do.
E's been on SmackDown.
Right. Here's what you could do. If Roman wins that match, right? If Roman wins that match, send Brock Lesnar to Raw.
I just don't. Maybe I don't know. I think it's just with me because I already know what you get with Brock Lesnar, and it's just you don't get much. It's Suplex
No, you
City,
don't.
and
You
that's
don't.
it.
In terms of quality match, you don't get much. But what Brock Lesnar does in getting people over is very under fucking rated. It's very underrated.
Well, I guess we shall see what they do.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on it. But
Okay.
your Big E comment that you wanted to address something about
Right.
Big E and something about quotas.
Yeah. So Big E says there is no quota. In the Masked podcast, he was on record saying that well, he was asked a question. So when he won the championship, it marked the first time in WWE history that a black man beat another black man for the WWE championship. So he was asked his thoughts on it. And he says he hopes it's more commonplace and that he feels that there is no quota to be filled when it comes to black wrestlers, because just like the Kofis, Biancas, the Sashas, the Lashleys, the Woods, Street Profits, people like that, there is no quota when it comes to them because they're all just dope, right? They're all pretty good wrestlers. They all bring something to the table, and they're all unique. So it's interesting the time frame that he said this, because he said this after he won the championship. So my question was, is this just service in light of the championship, or is Big E really being authentic and saying that, hey, all of these people are really dope? There is no quota to be filled. Are we seeing it being more commonplace for wrestlers of color to hold those types of championships?
I would say in 2021, yes, we are. Yeah, we are seeing it, but we still got a long way to go.
Definitely.
But there's been tremendous progress has been made. They were trying to make it beforehand with with Brock with Booker T and Mark Henry and all of that, and you don't get it twisted. The World Championship, the big gold belt, did not have the same value or was on the same level as the WWE Championship. So the fact that Bobby Lashley held the WWE Championship as long as he has, um, and then Big E comes up and gets it and cashes in the Money in the Bank successfully and acquires the WWE Championship, says a lot. And it says a lot for the booking. It says a lot for the faith that they have in Lashley and then the faith that they really have in Big E. And it was well deserved for Big E to get that strap. It was about damn time. He should have been had it a long time ago. I just, with as far as the character Big E goes, I would hope that at this point we start seeing less Big E and more Big E Langston. But that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, should he have gotten that championship when Kofi got it?
See, that's the kind of issue I'm having right now. So it was kind of like they came out of nowhere with this. It was a ratings grab. I told you when it happened, it was a ratings grab.
Right.
And it didn't really grab anything. But what I would have done is I would have had the match between Orton and Lashley at Extreme Rules, had Lashley beat Orton, do the same thing except we do it at Extreme Rules, and then Big E cashes it in on the pay-per-view. And then comes up the next night and celebrates. That's what I would have done. It makes perfect sense. It's like you give this match away. It kind of reminds me of WCW doing the same thing back in the day. This is something that WCW would have done. But then it's like at the same time, people say the same thing about AEW. Is AEW giving away too much for free? I mean, you're getting the first Danielson versus Omega match for free.
I was on that ship.
Yeah,
But the more I survey AEW's landscape, I'm like, this roster is fucking stacked.
yeah,
So it makes more sense for them to do these types of things. Like, what else are you gonna do? Like, all out in itself was a fucking monster pay-per-view, bro. It was monster.
right,
You debuted a lot of these guys. Cole debuted his first match on Dynamite. Great match, right? Danielson hasn't wrestled yet. He
mm,
said he didn't want it for the championship, but he wanted Omega to be his first match. And it's not for the belt. So all the marbles aren't on the table, but I think they can build to a great match at a pay-per-view for the belt, right?
right.
Um I didn't feel that way with the Big E title cash in. I didn't feel that way. I felt like it was more of a ratings grab, right? Because there was no build up, there was no he taunted, but it was more so at Roman Reigns and not Bobby Lashley. He just showed up on Raw and cashed in, right? And that felt like a money grab. It felt like a ratings grab. So
That's we're kind of in agreement on that. Yeah, there was no Kofi Mania story for Big E.
right. There was just I have it. I'm gonna show up on Raw. I'm gonna cash in. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like you could have cashed in. You could have cashed in at a pay per view, and it really would have made more sense to do it then. But
right,
the fact that a lot of people already knew that he was gonna be on Raw, like why else would you go on Raw? You know
right.
what I mean? Like why else? You're not
Yeah,
coming over there to say I'm gonna threaten you. No, I'm gonna cash this bitch in and I'm gonna be the champion.
right. Yeah, that's kind of my
So
feeling on it. When you told me, I was like, yeah, that's cool, but I wasn't like, it wasn't. I didn't have the same excitement like when Kofi won. I just put it like
right,
that because with Kofi, you followed the story of Mr. McMahon trying to stop it from happening. There was no
right,
story here. There's just the guy got the money in the bank and he got it back from Baron Corbin, and then they went from there, and that was it.
yeah. So it didn't feel like there was any build up.
Right?
So out of an AEW story, like you could build off of pretty much everything that they're throwing out. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, AEW just does shit differently, and I don't know why I like it, but I like it. You know what I mean? Like I'm invested. So like I'll watch the BTEs and get the storylines on the shows. Like, oh, that this shit was on BTE. Like they built up to this shit. Even the Sammy Guevara, because Sammy Guevara does like his YouTube shit, and like some of his shit actually makes it out onto TV, and it makes sense if you watch it. You know what I mean? Like, and they do these types of things. Like even the tweets that they put out, the tweets
Mm-hmm.
make sense because it leads to something. Like I don't WWE does that kind of, but it just doesn't hit in the same way that it would for me. You know what I mean? Like it's like, all right, I see you doing it, and like they'll allude to it a little bit on the show, but like some like it's night and day with them in AEW when it comes to
Yeah,
like how they utilize social media.
yeah. It's I think what a lot of it has to do with as well is like there's just a sense even with AEW that it's really it's scripted. It's scripted, but it's like almost like a shoot. Like
Yeah,
it's just that unpredictedness that you don't know when you watch Dynamite.
right.
You don't really know what's going to happen. You don't really have any idea what you're going to see. That's
Exactly.
and that's kind of the way it was back in the day when I was watching Monday Nitro. I did not know what I was going to see. Raw, it's predictable. You're going to see Sheamus out there in a match with Damian Priest, or you're going to
Hmm.
see a women's match, and that's what's going to happen. But there's just to me, there's just no excitement, bro, at
Right.
all with any of the Whips show, and that's just how I feel about it.
No, I get it. I get it because I feel the same way.
And then people
I feel
like
like a lot
WWE,
of it.
and people like WWE. That's fine for you to like
Yeah,
WWE. Of course,
yeah.
you like WWE. You grew up on WWE. Everybody, we all grew up on the WWF, and NWA, WCW, TNA, whatever. So it's no shame in your game. I don't,
No.
and I'm just telling you my feeling.
Yeah, I get you. I get exactly where you're coming from. So, in other news, Halloween Kills is now coming to the Peacock Network. How you feel about it?
I'm actually cool with it because there's still a lot of uncertainty right now with the COVID-19, the Delta variant. Not a lot of people are cool with going to the movie theaters yet. There's still a lot of different shit going on. So, hey, I'm cool with it. And on top of that, if you look at the numbers for Peacock is not there where it needs to be yet. So, Halloween Kills coming over, it gives a real big boost for people to want to come over and check it out. Of course, people are going to still go to the movie theaters to see the movie. But to me, I'm just going to look, man. I'm cool with watching it on Peacock. I got a big ass fucking TV in the living room. I got a fucking projector screen. You know my setup. So I have no problem. I got no problem, watching from home and being able to, drink my alcohol, and I can say it sucked ass or it was really good or I was in the middle.
I think this one's actually going to be good.
Well, let Rotten Tomatoes tell it it's not going to be.
What?
Who gives a fuck about what Rotten Tomatoes has to say?
What are they saying?
It was low. It was low.
Like how low?
I forgot, bro. It was low. Like it was in the 30s or 40s or some shit.
No fucking way.
Yeah, but like I said,
when it's that low, it's normally valid.
Okay,
like
but
if it's 70s, I'll be like, all right, that shit's still gonna be good. They just fucked.
Let me flip you on this one. Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about the movie that came out years ago with Eddie Murphy? Like it was a long ass time ago. Harlem Nights had Richard Pryor and all them in it. What do you think about that movie?
It's one of my all-time favorites.
Rotten Tomatoes had that movie at like a 9 or some shit. So that what I'm saying is that I tell you right there how people don't look at the critics, don't listen to critics, how the critics view things, because what they think sucks ass, we find funny, we find entertaining. Okay, if we were to listen to critics, we wouldn't be watching AEW right now because they tell you to turn that shit off. If we were listening to critics, they would have told you a long time ago when the WWF would say, yeah, you don't want to watch no WCW. Same thing with the movies. If I'm listening to what they say at the movie theaters, then a lot of movies that I've watched, I wouldn't have taken a chance on watching them. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Like Halloween Kills, I'm a huge Halloween fan. I got the mask on the wall. I dress up as Michael Myers every year for Halloween. The Rob Zombie version, but nonetheless, I'm a big horror fan, so I'm looking forward to it. I think Halloween Kills is going to be one of the best movies of the year, and if it's not, I'd be struck down by lightning.
I saw you move. All right. I'll give you that. But Rotten Tomatoes, man, I don't know. Harlem Nights is a 9. Hold on.
It was. Yeah, look it up. It was a real low thing. It was really low. It was crazy. Yeah, look it up. And then while you're on there, look up the Halloween Kills real quick too, because I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. And these are critics that have gone and saw the movie, and they're already shitting on it. And they're like, bro, come on now. The movie was supposed to come out last year, remember? And then it was pushed back because of the scamdemic.
Yeah.
So
Oh, they got it at 21.
Which one is that?
Which is stupid. Harlem Nights.
That's my point. That's my whole point. They got the movie at 21. You had Richard Pryor in there with Eddie Murphy. You had Red Fox in there, and it only gets a 21 rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Harlem Nights is one of the best classic movies of all time. Sitting at 21. Come on now. So you think I'm going to listen to what these jabrones have to say about Halloween Kills? Please. Look at Halloween 2 back in the day. Halloween 2 got a horrible rating from Rotten Tomatoes, and it was one of the best Halloweens in the franchise.
Well, so Halloween Kills is at 59%. That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Should be higher.
I agree. It should be higher,
but they were shitting all over it though. When the ratings came out, they were shitting all over the movie. People were scared. I'm like, why are y'all scared to watch it, bro? It's gonna, be your own critic. Go make your own mind up.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah,
I get you.
But
they also have movies. They also have movies like fucking Moonlight that's high as shit on the Rotten Tomatoes, and that movie sucked. It won an Oscar, and I fucking hated it.
Hey, but you know what movie got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes?
What?
South Central.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it fucking doesn't.
Yes, it does. South Central has 100%.
OG Bobby Johnson got 100%? Yes.
Yep. Deuce, baby. Yeah, that one.
Oh, fuck, it does.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I fucks with it. OG Bobby Johnson.
Yep.
Okay. I can fuck with that. What else we got?
Hey, that's pretty much, I guess we got to go. Can't be alone in here.
Oh shit. But before we do get out of here, once again, I do want to thank everybody for the views and listens that we got for the last show, man. That shit, me and Frank D was over here tripping the fuck out.
Yeah, we were.
I was like, yo, man, look at this shit.
Yeah. We were like what the what the fuck is going on? Exactly. Like what do we say? But it's like, I got down to it. I'm like, we keep it 1,000 on this podcast. We tell it like it is. And I think, people like that. That's just how my nature's always been. I ain't gonna sugarcoat for anything. If I think something sucks, I'm gonna tell you it sucks. You feel me?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Sure. So it is what it is.
Hell yeah. So yeah, man, I don't have shit else, man, unless you got something else.
Nah, man, I ain't got nothing, at all.
For sure. So
you want to help control if you want to help control the pet population, have your pet spayed or neutered.
Who are you, fucking Bob Barker now? Oh shit. All right, but till then, man, thank y'all for tuning in to this episode of this. No shit, I was about to say the Smoke Pit, the No Gimmicks podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in. Tune in next time. Until then, y'all be easy. Have a good weekend. Peace.